Hello everyone, I am Samuel, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, and I am handling computer architecture and organization. Today we are going to see a very important concept in the computer architecture and organization. Hope you will enjoy the video. Thank you. Okay. Today we are going to see about the components of the computer. And the components of the computer are, you can say, the brainchild of the computer, or in other aspects you could say it is a blueprint of a computer. If one of these components of the computer collapses, the whole computer collapses. So what are the components or what are the modules available in a computer are? The first one is the memory component, and the second is the IO module, and the third one is the CPU, the central processing unit. These three communicate with each other. Memory module is used for storing the data. Whatever data you process, or if you want to give an input or output to, to store data, we need a memory module. So very important aspect in a computer is the memory module, because in order to store a data, in order to save a data in a computer, you need memory space. That memory space is provided by this module, the memory module. And the second most important thing is the IO module, which is an input and output module, which plays a major role, because if you want to, if the user want to have a desired result, first they have to give the uh, input, that is the input, and then only they can get the desired output. And also, in order to if the user want a desired output, or if they want to give an input or something like that, they need to process the data. For that, you need another module. That module is called as, that module here represents the CPU, which is also called as the brainchild of the computer, central processing unit, where we will process everything, the input or the output. If you want to do an arithmetic operations, or if you want to do a logical operations, you need a central processing unit where there is the arithmetic logic unit lies in it. So the blueprint of a computer, you can say, are these three set of components. The first one is the memory component, the second one is the IO component, and the CPU component. If these three communicates with each other, or these three components communicate with each other, you will get the desired output of the user. Next, we will see like a human brain to store data and information, whereas in a computer, it is used to store data and instructions. The input, the output module, or to display the desired, or to display a result, we need a memory space. That memory space is provided by this module, memory component. Next, we will see the structure of the memory module. Now, as you can see, the structure of the memory module, where you can say there are two inputs. The first one we have the reading of the data. The next one is the writing of the data. We have these control signals. We have at least four control signals here. We have an address bus here. We have a data bus here, where the address bus is used to designate the data, where the data required by the customer or required by the user. The address bus helps to locate the data where it is in memory, whereas the database is used to fetch the data. Database used to fetch the data from the memory. So the memory module is divided into set of pages and set of segmentations, where the data are stored in a pages. Like for example, if you have a 1 TB of memory, the 1 TB of memory will be divided into fixed number of pages. That is, each page will contain fixed number of data. This is how this is the structure of the memory module. Next, we will see the IO module. Okay. The next most important are the next most important component of a computer or module of a computer is the IO. The input and output module works as a mediator between the IO devices and the processor. It acts as an intermediate. It acts as a bridge between the processor and the devices which are connected. The IO module acts as an intermediate. What it does is, what is the operation of this IO module is that it conveys the information from the IO device to processor and vice versa. is used to convey the information to the CPU, that what kind of input the user is requesting. For example, if the user requesting an addition operation, it will convey the information to the processor. Sometimes it uses a peripheral device to communicate with the processor. So this is how the I/O module is acts as an interface between the external device and the processor. That is the operation of the I/O module. Next, we will see the operation of the CPU. The next one is the most important, or you can see the brainchild of the computer, is the CPU module or CPU component, central processing unit. It's also called as central processor or the main processor of the computer, where all the data, all the instruction have been will be executed in this processor only. So the operation the operation of the CPU is that it is an electronic circuitry within a computer that executes instructions that make up a computer program. So it executes instructions. The memory module helps us to store data and instruction. The I/O module acts as an intermediate between the processor and the external devices or any peripheral devices. But the central processing unit only helps us to execute the instruction which is stored in the memory or which is requested uh, by the user or the programmer only uses the computer. So the CPU plays a major role in getting the desired result of the user, and also it is the only component that helps us to execute any instruction that was given by the I/O module or the instruction, the data that has been stored in the memory module. So CPU is the brainchild of the computer and the most important component. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching the video. Do send your queries to the. Thank you so much. Always be awesome. If you have any queries, you can definitely communicate with the mail or you can comment. You can. Thank you so much. If you have any queries, you can definitely send it to this email ID and always be awesome. Thank you.